For me, iterative note review was very helpful because when I first came to college, I thought I was a rote memorization learner. You know, when I was at DLI, when I was learning a language, that's how I learned. And I thought, I'm gonna translate this to college. It didn't work for me. So I had to figure out something else to do in order to survive. So what I learned was that I needed to take a little bit of time after each lecture and throughout my week to review the notes that I had taken. So in class, typically teachers teach modularly, and they give you like this overarching idea of what they're about to discuss. So I would kind of highlight that. I'd give myself the general idea in the notes, and after the lecture, I would take maybe 10-15 minutes and just go over the most important points in my own words, in my own language, so that I could synthesize it and distill it. And that really helped me for the next lesson as well. It was informing how I was learning, and it was great for me to be able to have another way to memorize this stuff. So I guess the most easy way to do this is to study it immediately after the lecture, and then the next time you have that lecture, go over that again in conjunction with the following lecture. And once you do that a couple of times, it becomes second nature. And I started realizing after maybe like the third or fourth time I reviewed it for maybe like 10 minutes, so not a huge investment of my time, I just knew it. And I didn't really have to go over it 100 million more times. And I didn't have to cram before my test, which was so helpful, because for me, cramming doesn't work. It stresses me out, and I would not know key pieces of information. So that is why iterative note review was so helpful for me.
Iterative note review for me is something that was presented to me in one way, and over time I sort of tweaked to fit a little bit better with my style. So what I do, instead of kind of setting aside a separate block of time every day to go back through my notes and refresh all of that, is when I'm actually doing the homework for that class, since that's time I am setting aside for it anyway, is before starting the homework, kind of taking that 10-15 minutes, whatever, to go back through a bit in my notes and to read back through, which also gives me the opportunity to correct things that maybe I wrote down wrong, that I understand a little bit better now after a few more lectures, and okay, I misunderstood that, and so I can kind of correct that in my notes. So again, but kind of re-cementing those dates, those numbers, those facts of whatever kind, and then coming into the homework having that fresher understanding again, because rushing from one class to another and kind of changing gears really rapidly, there's a tendency I find to forget a lot of what just happened, which is again why I try to really take good notes during lectures, so that when I am coming back to it during homework, it's something I can kind of click that switch and refresh again to bring back to the forefront. And so again, trying to really use my notes as more of a living document that I'm working with throughout the semester. So.